Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Cioffi here. It's coming up on 10:30 Eastern Time, and I can tell you that at least outside my window here in central Long Island, we are now pouring again. And we're going to bring up one of my colleagues here. Let me just bring him up on the screen. It's meteorologist Andrew Pineiro, who is working this morning and watching all the flooding going on in some places at FiOS 1 News. And you've got all three zones today: Long Island, New Jersey, and Hudson Valley. All right, very good.
I'm streaming on my YouTube channel too right now.
Oh, very good. Just want to make sure you sound okay to me on the audio, so I'm hoping that everybody can hear you all right. Let's first off, Andrew, we still have a lot going on. I'm going to bring up the regional radar view here, and we're going to disappear in 1 second. So hi to Andrew's YouTube audience, by the way. Here's the this rain area. Andrew's taking its sweet time. Also, I'm looking at, if you look over central Long Island, there looks like there's a line of thunderstorms there, and I'm just about getting into that. Hang on, pal. They just put up a severe thunderstorm warning up?
About an hour ago.
Oh, that's the old severe thunderstorm warning up. There's nothing new, though.
Nope, nothing new right now.
What kind of rainfall amounts have you seen?
So, let's see. Let's pull up. So, over Long Island I have. It looks like, and anybody on my YouTube channel, I'm showing it right now. Bayville, 1.58 inches. Valley Stream, 1/4 inch. Islip, little under 1/4 inch. 1/2 inch at Shirley, 1/2 inch East Hampton. But Bayville got slammed.
Hey, here's a question for you. One of the, I was looking at I'm going to bring up the local radar now over both of us. The Doppler radar estimates. You know, if you go on the Weather Service's website, and when you pull up the radar, you can switch to the mode that shows the Doppler estimates. And I posted it earlier. And from the New York office, it showed, some areas in a narrow area in New Jersey, in northern New Jersey, in Hunterdon County, and with what looked like a four-inch plus band. You were up during the overnight when these storms really got going. Is that possible that there was that much rain?
Collectively, maybe, but I don't think it came from one specific storm.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. Collectively, it is possible.
I think so. From this morning, it looks like we got Newark at almost 3/4 inch. Belmar and Toms River coming in at 0. Trenton is 0.3 inches. So it was really right around that New York City area.
Right. Yeah, there's been the Jersey Shore, we talked about this yesterday, in fact, the Jersey Shore for today, particularly from 195 south, was probably not going to see much this morning. I'm actually surprised. You know, I've often referred to the fact that Long Island, in the last few years, seems to have this what I call a boilerplate sitting over it when it's come to these downpours and thunderstorm events, where, with some exceptions, but most of the time we haven't been participating. And this is actually opposite of what I've experienced out here over the years. Oftentimes it's been the reverse, where we wind up with a lot more. But it looks like that boilerplate's been taken off, because we got hit. Areas did get hit fairly hard earlier this week with thunderstorms, and now from the overnight and what's going on this morning with some of the heavy rains going by.
Even the dew point, I got Raymond on my channel that came up. He's saying its dew point's right around 69.
Yeah, it's soaked in tropical air.
I see, yeah. Go
ahead.
The highest total I'll show you I found in the Hudson Valley, White Plains, 1.8 inches of rain.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, there has to be, certainly from what I saw with the Doppler estimates, every bit
that's
of.
just from the Doppler estimates.
Now, here's Andrew. One of the things that I've been kind of struggling with, Joe Rayo and I have both been struggling with this. I'm going to bring up I'm going to try and bring up here the one of the models. And the models, by the way, that we use are courtesy of tropicaltidbits.com, which is a great source for weather models. If that's what you're into, certainly you weather enthusiasts would enjoy using this site. One of the things that I've noticed, and maybe you can address this, these events that you look at the short-term models with regards to how this plays out, I have just found them to be so incredibly unreliable. Every version of every model seems to have a different idea of what the radars are supposed to look like during the inside even 24 or 12 hours. They're all going in different directions. And I know every model's got its own parameters that emphasizes one thing or another. But I've really had a tough time trying to figure out which one's got the better handle on all this.
Yeah, I've talked about this, and anybody on my live stream has remembered I talked about the inconsistencies with the models, especially the snowstorms, the snow we had earlier with the 4 nor'easters in a row.
Right.
The forecast models, they just would not agree even within 24 hours.
But I've been looking at, Andrew, on just the HRRR, just as an example. And the NAM also, I would pull up the on the HRRR what looks to be like the 1 or 2 hour forecast period, and almost corresponding to what the actual radar is showing. And a lot of times it hasn't even been close. There have been instances where it showed absolutely nothing where the radar's been loaded. I mean, why such a why does it miss it that extreme? I can expect it to be a little off, but to just kind of wholesale miss entire areas is a bit much for me. I have up here the 10 o'clock. This is what the 10 a.m. radar presentation of the HRRR is supposed to look like, correct? Or is that the rainfall amounts? That's a rainfall amount.
I can't see what your screen shows.
Oh, okay. So I've got the HRRR 1 kilometer AGL reflectivity up. So that's those are the radar echoes.
Even here, I'm going to switch over. I have the RPM future cast.
Okay.
And those severe thunderstorms that rolled through not too long ago, it missed them. It had them dying out before or right over New York City and not even going into Long Island. No storms over Long Island.
Oh, see, and I mean this is why I've been kind of saying with respect to this for everybody, just plan on downpours and thunderstorms to be running around. No way to know until you actually see them on the radar. You can kind of you're just going to have to roll the dice as far as when you get into a break period. Now, it appears to me that there is going to be a bit of a break period into early afternoon, but then we see a firing up around 3, 4, 5 o'clock across northern New Jersey to about New York City of what looks like some pretty hefty downpours, and then they move them east across New York City over Long Island later this evening.
Yeah, the RPM's showing that too.
All right, and in terms of accumulated additional precip, we're looking at this is the HRRR out to 18 hours. I want to make sure I got it all the way through. I'm just going to, an additional easily pockets of 2 to 3 inches of rain from south central Jersey, say from draw a line from southern Ocean County straight west. From there north, you've got these blobs of 2-3 inch rainfall amounts all the way up into the Hudson Valley, Long Island, southern New England, northern New Jersey, eastern PA. I think this, and it kind of matches up pretty much with where the flash flood watches are. I think that's a fairly reasonable expectation in terms of additional rain. Are you on the same page?
Yeah, I think so. And a lot of these flash flood watches are ending anywhere between 1 a.m. and 8 a.m. tomorrow.
Okay. What did you think? I was looking at Monday, and with the upper low the way it is and the structure of the upper low. Hang on, I'm just kind of moving some boxes around. I'm bringing us back both up on the screen here. But you've got this trough to the west and this cutoff that's going to take a while. It's not going to really move out of here until Wednesday. I thought that where the upper low was, and in terms of what we were going to get, the position of the trough and everything else, I think that Monday and Tuesday, there could be some hefty downpours in some places. As somebody could get nailed, pretty strongly with additional heavy rains. And let's not even forget, we still have tomorrow to get through. But I was really kind of looking at the upper air on Monday and on Tuesday and thinking, you know what, someone's going to get a ton of rain out of this.
Yeah, because even with the couple of forecast models I looked at, it's not really showing too much. The RPM is picking it up a little bit after about 1 p.m. on Monday.
Right.
Some downpours, specifically in central New Jersey.
But you see what I'm getting at is, let's lay aside what the models are doing now in 36 and 48 hours on the surface, or how they show in terms of the radar, because it's gonna keep changing. But when I look at the overall 500 structure, just in a broad sense, and what's going on with this, very strong tropical inflow coming up the eastern seaboard, and the position of that trough out to the west is actually, even and the NAM shows us, there's a wave that develops and moves northward and kicks a huge area of rain on the NAM northwest into eastern PA and clobbers them. I think that Monday somebody's just going to may get a ton of rain out of this setup.
Yeah, maybe unexpected, but I definitely think so. And even, I think the National Weather Service is kind of covering themselves a little bit too. Because with the severe thunderstorm warning, even though I didn't really think anything about tornadoes, they talked about tornadoes inside the severe thunderstorm warning.
Well, you know what? We had rotation show up last week a couple of times, and it's all and in situations like this. I know even on Long Island, when you've got a strong, a relatively strong inflow of tropical moisture from the southeast or southeast, and a cold upper trough like this swinging, trying to slowly move through here from the west. We've seen instances here of some pretty wicked downpours and the occasional EF0 or even an EF1 tornado that gets spawned out of it. So it wouldn't shock me, especially later this afternoon. The HRRR, the radar presentations on the HRRR and the NAM do show some pretty hefty cells, so it wouldn't be a shocker to me.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It's just, I think it's a bit more unlikely, but there's still always that chance.
Do me a favor, so we don't lose you in the double box. Can you just really quick check on if there's any new warnings that have gone out?
Sure.
And what is still up in terms of warnings or watches? We got the flash flood watch. That's got everybody from eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England, the Hudson Valley, northern New Jersey, Long Island, and in New Jersey, it's all the counties except the coastal counties. You still got that flash flood warning up?
Doesn't look like it. Let me just double check. I think there's only one little spot. Loading. There we go. Edison, New Jersey, really the only spot with a flash flood warning.
So basically, we're talking just a small area. What is that? Middlesex County?
I believe so.
Yeah, so small area left in Middlesex County, and we don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings up at the moment, correct?
No. And then there's some coastal flood stuff going along, say, Tom's River and south, all those Jersey Shore basin counties.
Okay. With the onshore wind, and not a surprise. Are we? I've totally lost track. Are we in a full moon or a new moon right now?
New moon.
It's a new moon. Okay, so that accounts for this, and it doesn't help. It doesn't help matters that we've had except for the last 2 days. Well, the last 2 days the winds have been more northwest. We haven't really had much of an onshore wind, so I guess that probably is helping tide somewhat. But we had southeast winds for over a week, and going into this new moon. So I suppose that the water, that didn't help. Let's put it that way.
No, it didn't. And I'm expanding a little bit. Just north of Scranton, Pennsylvania, there's a flash flood warning.
Okay.
Let's see.
There are areas up near Susquehanna, up in northeast PA that I was looking at some of the numbers that they've gotten over a foot of rain in the last couple of weeks. The threshold for flash flooding right now is extremely low. A lot of areas from eastern Pennsylvania to about New York City have gotten a sizable amount of rain in the last couple of weeks. So the ground is just absolutely saturated.
And you actually hit the nail right on the head. The flash flood warning for southwestern Susquehanna.
Oh, so not too far from the Susquehanna Hat Company. If you're an Abbott and Costello fan, you'll know the reference. All right, Andrew. Listen, thanks so much for joining me here. And Andrew is at Meteorologist Andrew Pineiro. I always flip the I and the E in your name, correct?
Yeah, it's a Puerto Rican spelling.
Right, so it's
Pineiro.
Okay, so it's I before E, except after C or Pineiro. Unless it sounds like an A, as in neighbor or way. It's one of those Catholic school things that I've always remembered.
I learned the same way, and then I was always like, no, my last name's not English, so it doesn't follow English rules.
Right. Well, I have you tagged on this on the live stream, so my audience is watching you, and they should go ahead and like your page as well. I'll talk to you a bit later, okay?
All right, sounds good.
Take care, pal.
Bye.
That was my colleague at Fios One News, meteorologist Andrew Pineiro, and I'm coming back to you guys here on the board. Give me 1 second. Let's see. And hang on, folks. Trying to find everybody. There we go. So that is the latest on what's going on this morning. It looks like we're going to get a bit of a break on the radar, and then we're going to start seeing things load up again for later this afternoon. If most of the models are showing this, and the radars, as I look out to the west, are trying to juice up a bit. So we'll keep you updated. It was great to have Andrew here on board. Like as I said, he's up there. I've got him tagged, so you certainly can add him to your list of weather people to watch on any given day. All right, folks, have a great rest of your morning. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and then we'll see what happens this afternoon when the radars load up again.